You're listening to 99.1 WQRT LP, and welcome to Radio Free Book Club for December 2025. I'm Ken Honeywell. I'm a writer and reader from Indianapolis, and this month we're heading back to 1895, La Belle Époque, France, to take a ride with Irish-Canadian writer Emma Donaghue on the Paris Express. Donaghue is a novelist, screenwriter, playwright, and literary historian, perhaps best known for her Booker Prize-nominated 2010 novel Room, which she also adapted for the screen in 2015. That won her an Oscar nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay. Her 1995 novel Hood won the Stonewall Book Award. This year, Donaghue won the Alice B. Readers Award, given every year to a living writer with a body of well-written works about lesbians. Along with 5 collections of short stories, more than a dozen plays, myriad articles, a biography, a couple works of history, more articles than I was willing to count. I think she is writing every moment of her waking life. Donaghue has also published 16 novels, the Paris Express being the latest. Broadly speaking, it's the story of a train trip on October 28, 1895, from Granville to Paris that we're promised is going to end in disaster, and a look into the lives of a whole host of people on that train, many of whom were actual historical figures. We'll get to those people, but first let's meet the people who've arrived at this station, this radio station, to talk about the book, starting with the inimitable Barb Shoup. Hello, Barb.
Well, hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. Here I am.
Yeah, what's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah.
You don't mean like the apocalypse, you mean?
Yeah, no.
No, well, in that case, things are going just fine, and
Yeah.
as usual, I guess.
You have
I
a
would
pretty
say.
new book.
I have a pretty new book.
Yeah.
It's called About Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was number 47 on Amazon, very narrow category, but cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Congrats.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Hello, Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate Shoup. I'm Barb's daughter, which is my main thing that I bring to the table, probably.
I don't think
I'm
so,
joking.
but okay.
I'm a writer and reader from Indianapolis. I used to focus on nonfiction, but I recently released my first novel in November.
Yeah, tell us a little about that.
It's called Overtaken. It's a rom-com. It's kind of set around the Indianapolis 500 because it's a sort of special area of expertise of mine. And it is written under a pen name, which is Elizabeth Oliver. But I'm really proud of it. I'm excited about it, and it's been really fun.
It's
Yeah,
very
good.
good. I know I'm her mom, but it really is quite.
She's pretty
very
hard
good.
on me, so
I
I feel
am.
like
I am.
I
feel
know
like
she
that's
is.
an actual
Anybody who's been a student will
endorsement.
know.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Yeah.
It's quite wonderful.
Thank
yeah,
you.
That's excellent. Congratulations, Kate.
Thanks. I'm happy. It's been fun.
All right. Laurel, hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laurel Judkins. I am a lawyer and communications consultant, an avid reader, and with Barb's encouragement, I am also now calling myself a writer.
Yay!
I
Yeah.
write. I don't publish, but I write a lot,
okay,
and I
you're a
read a
writer.
lot. And I also have a show on WQRT called Nectar. It's dedicated to women in ambient, electronic, and experimental music.
Yeah. And where can we find that show?
Well, you can find it at WQRT.org. There are links to past episodes in the community radio section.
Yeah. Yes. Very accessible, and congratulations. It's a cool show.
Thank you.
Now, before we all board the Paris Express, you should know there's plenty to spoil here, and we're going to spoil it plenty. So if you plan to read it, you might want to come back later and listen to the show, which is easy to do because you can find this and all the episodes of Radio Free Book Club on Spotify, just about anywhere you stream podcasts. But here's an idea. Go to WQRT.org, where you can find this show and a whole bunch of other great shows produced here like Nectar. We hope you'll subscribe to our Radio Free Book Club Substack for non-spoiler notes about the book, including whether or not we would recommend it. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Emma Donaghue first. Are we familiar with Emma Donaghue? Have we read her before? Kate, you're nodding.
Yeah, I thought Room was a masterpiece. I thought that book was incredible. And I do remember reading Slammerkin, which is one of her earlier books, and I would have read it a very long time ago. And not every book, I don't even remember a lot of books that I've read, but I do remember reading that book and really enjoying it.
Yeah, Barb.
Yeah, I've read several of her books. I also thought Room was wonderful. I also loved Pull of the Stars. I think of all of hers, that's probably my favorite. It's a World War I story in a hospital, and it also deals with the flu, 1918 flu epidemic. That's probably my favorite of hers.
How about you, Laurel?
I have not read anything of hers before until the Paris Express. I, of course, was familiar with Room, but to be quite honest, knowing what it was about was very terrifying to me.
It was a tough book.
It is a tough
And
book.
so I actually intentionally stayed away from it. I do have it on my bookshelf, but I've never cracked it open.
Yeah, actually, you and me both.
It's a remarkable but very
Yeah,
difficult book.
yeah.
I know my wife Becky loved it. She thought it was a great book. I'm not sure if she loved it.
Well, the story's just really rough.
Yeah.
So,
Have
yeah.
you seen the movie? I have
Yeah.
not seen the movie.
I've also stayed away from the
I saw the
Yeah.
movie.
I didn't see the movie.
I mean,
good?
I thought it was good. Yeah, I thought it was quite good. I felt like it was faithful to the book, and
Yeah.
it hit on I'm glad, I guess, because she adapted the book herself, which I think is always, well, not always, but often a good thing. It stayed pretty true to itself, I thought.
So you two who are familiar with Emma Donaghue, did you have expectations going into this book?
Yeah, I thought I would like it.
Yeah,
What do you really think?
Sorry.
Kate?
Did I was that too quick?
no. I expect from her history and a depth, good history. I feel like the other things that I've read of hers are well researched and things are not made up that shouldn't be made up. And a certain complexity of character, which I would agree with Kate, I did not see here. And that's what I have most liked about her books that this one didn't do for me.
Yeah, so it sounds like you were at least a little disappointed. What'd you think, Laurel?
About the book?
Yeah.
I guess, first of all, I would say I think it's, I typically like books that try to bring real moments in history to life. And I also tend to like books that do have a number of characters whose lives over time sort of intertwine in a interesting and complex way. I think it sort of missed the mark in doing that. And it just felt a little flimsy, I guess, to me, is how I would put it. And I felt like she was just consistently walking all the characters from point A to point B with her narration.
Well, to be fair, she
Literally.
was training them.
Literally. Yeah.
Literally, yes.
Yeah. But I would have liked to see it be a little deeper.
Yeah, there were an awful lot of characters.
34.
Thank you. Thank you for the count, Barb.
I couldn't resist counting.
34 named characters?
34 named characters.
Wow.
Yeah,
I feel like that's too many.
it's too many.
Well, for a 260-page book or whatever it was.
Yeah, and I just, as a result, I felt like I couldn't get invested in any of them.
Yeah.
And I think that was what I was missing, because I do agree that with your description of her other work, that's what I like about her stuff too. And I just felt like there were certain characters I found more interesting than others, but because I never got enough of any of them, I didn't ever quite connect the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
The two characters that I thought were most interesting were, do you say her name, Maddo?
Maddo.
Yeah.
Maddo, and the old woman.
Blonstra.
Was it Blonstra?
Blonska.
Blonska. Oh, I have that
Yeah.
written down wrong.
The
Yeah.
Russian woman.
Yeah.
We saw more of them.
Yes.
And they engaged in more things that mattered,
I wanted only them, sort of. Or not only them, but mostly
More
them.
of them.
I wanted to know more about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was to me the contrast between those two characters. And, one was young and idealistic and angry, and the other one was not happy with the world either, but she had come to a place where she found a way to do good and be as satisfied as one might be to be able to help people rather than change the world. So those two characters were to me the most interesting.
I agree. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt. I was just going to say it was like it was two different ways to look at the same problem.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. You know, you have this sort of macro approach that the younger character wants to take, but then you have the micro approach that the older character wants. And I think there's room for both of those approaches. And I found that interesting to think about.
Yeah, and I felt like she did a fairly good job of kind of with Maddow, as she started to realize that this was not an abstract project, you know, that there were real people and she was with them and they would be killed if she went through with what she planned to do. And she did. There could have been more of that because that part of it I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I just feel like it was I agree, and I think it was a missed opportunity to really have them play against each other and create a little more tension.
Yeah, there was not enough tension.
There's not
that would
tension
have been,
in this book.
Yeah,
it's
that would
kind
have
of
been
like
better.
Yeah,
I think.
agree. It's then, and you know, we move here and we move
Yeah.
there, but there's not really much tension.
Yeah,
Well,
they're just almost like slipping by each
Yeah.
other on the train. There's
Yeah.
no like real.
Which I think
like,
she meant to a certain extent
Maybe.
to do that.
I mean, it is sort of the nature of that kind of trip is you
Yeah.
have this
Right.
this very condensed time with other people, and then they're gone. So maybe she's trying to evoke that sense in the reader. I just didn't, but I get that sense when I'm traveling. I don't want it when I'm reading.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I might want it when I'm reading, but I do think. I mean, I do think that's interesting. That idea of, you know, you bring people together in a situation with a hospital or a
Yes.
train or whatever, and things happen. If something happens, it's really unusual.
and it can be very intense.
It can be a really intense experience, and then all those people are gone, and probably will not have any more contact, but yet they've all been changed by something. And so, you know, but usually when it works best is each person is coming to it with kind of a set of things they're dealing with already. And then when we get to the end, we have an open-ended feeling that person is, we sort of have a sense of where that person's going to be.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that here.
Yeah, I want to dig into all that a little bit. I mean, it's interesting to me that what you all are saying is that there's not a lot of tension in a book that is billed as a thriller.
Yeah.
Right. Well, for one thing, you know that, you know, I mean, you already know it's going to happen, which I guess in a thriller, that's part of it.
Well,
Yeah, in
do you-
any genre, anything, you kind of know.
Well, I mean, I guess I want to ask that specifically. Did you know about this train crash before
I did not.
this book?
I was familiar with that photograph, but for some reason I was like, oh, wow, weird. And then I moved on, but I didn't ever
Yeah.
think to wonder how that happened. And I like that idea. I like things like that where makes you stop and rewind and really think about what led to
How
that.
did they get
How did
there?
you get there?
Yeah.
And so I love the premise. I mean, I really did. I feel like there was, like you said, a missed opportunity there because it was a very interesting premise in my mind.
Yeah, I think so too. And I didn't see the photo until the end of the book. I didn't
Me too.
know there was a
I
photo
knew that
back
photo.
there.
I've seen that
I had
photo.
seen that photo before. For
Oh,
sure.
you just didn't put it together.
But you didn't
That's
put
what
it
it was.
together.
Yeah, no, I
see.
wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But we were kind of promised disaster right up front. Did you ever believe the bomb was going to go off?
I was thinking about that question because you asked that in your list, and I think I sort of entered like a fugue state when I was reading this book because I just was kind of confused a lot of the time because I couldn't remember who was who and what their connections were, and so I never even really stopped to ask myself about whether I thought that
And
was going to
Kate,
happen.
you're
or not.
even more used to French names.
Bah oui, je sais, c'est comme ça. Mais yeah, my husband is French, and I'm trying to become French actually. So yeah, I still just could not. I was like, wait, is this the kid? Wait, who is this?
Yeah.
The student? I couldn't.
Yeah.
Is this the Irish guy? I just could not remember who was who. And so as a result, as I was reading, I just didn't even ask questions like the question that you just asked.
Yeah, Laurel, were you
Well-
worried about the bomb going off?
You know, if for the first maybe like 50 pages I was, but then as I continued to go through the book, a couple things happened. Number one, I was like, it's just gonna like accidentally go off and be like a nothing burger, you know,
Yeah.
or there is going to be some sort of disaster, but it's going to, it's going to affect somebody other than a very minor character who's just introduced at the very, last 10 pages
Bingo.
of the book.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
it's going to impact somebody that we've at least gotten to know somewhat throughout the course of the book, and that didn't happen either. So I just kept wanting it to be more than it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought the bomb was going to go off. Maybe just because even in the table of contents, it was like it was pulling into the station in Paris.
Well, I sort of thought if it was going to go off, it would go off there. I thought that was what she was going to do, that
Yeah.
she was going to make it go off when they came into
I guess
Paris.
I was just thinking it'd be a lot cooler if it went off while the train was
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I was just seeing that. I guess that's what I thought about this the most was it feels like this is like a pitch for a movie script.
Well, yeah.
Oh, well,
I mean,
and probably
it
is.
would be a much more.
It would work better as
It would
a
work
movie.
better as a
It
movie.
would.
Yeah,
It
it
would.
really would. Yeah.
Yes, because I do think there are
But
certain
then just
visual.
write the script. She's a screenwriter, for
Right.
goodness sake.
Yeah, I do think certain stories are meant for certain media, and I think you're right that this would be a better movie than it is a book.
Yeah. I have a question, and because I don't know as much about like the editing process, but I mean, this would have been read by her editor.
Right.
And would have given feedback where maybe she needed to build out more characters or things like that. And I just wonder, like, what happened with the editing here?
I think what happens, I really think this is true, that when people become best-selling authors, they don't get the editing.
I think that's
that
true.
It's
other
just like
people
check the
get.
box, like, oh,
Yeah.
let's get another one out.
Unless they're, really fortunate enough to have that kind of an editor, but they know that they're going to put that book out and it's going to sell a lot of copies, whether it could use work or not use work.
I think that's true.
And I feel like that's what happened with this. And I also think that, you mentioned earlier how prolific she is. I think that catches up with you sometimes at a certain point. Things have to cook in a novel. It doesn't, they evolve over time. And I feel like part of the problem with this may be that she was just in too big of a hurry to get it out.
Yeah.
And whether she was just in a hurry because she was in a hurry, or, having an X number of books contract, it's not
It's
all
pressure.
blessing.
Yeah, it can be a
Because
lot of
it's
pressure.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened with it, but I think it definitely needed more development or something.
Yeah.
It just didn't work.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, I went back, I didn't reread it, but I went back and skimmed it. And, I found myself thinking things that I didn't necessarily think the first time through. But you shouldn't have to expect people to read your book twice either.
That was exactly my experience also, Barb.
Was
I
it?
think I admired the construction of it a little bit more the second time through, but that's not, people aren't reading it for the structure.
It's kind of inside baseball.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
I just
Yeah.
think that's a very small population that's going to be able to look at it and have an interest in looking at it that
and
way.
willing to read it
Yeah.
more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right.
did not read it more than once. Just
Yeah, right.
Clarify.
Nor should you. I mean, I don't think, although,
yeah.
you're a writer.
Yeah, I just, for me, it was like I was kind of glad it was short, and I was glad it was over.
Yeah, me too.
I found it tiresome. I just
Yeah.
didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was just too bad.
So we've talked about Blonska and Maddo a little bit. Any other characters you particularly liked or didn't like, Laurel?
I can't remember her name.
Of course you
Because there were a lot. But I was curious about the story of the woman who was giving birth on the train and what
Oh,
became of
yeah.
her and her baby. I thought there was maybe going to be more with that.
Cecile. Yeah.
And maybe some, more of a, enlightened moment for Maddo, seeing this baby being born in front of her. So I was curious about her story, but
Yeah.
didn't receive any additional information.
Yeah, she was apparently a made-up character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's
the
right.
painter was
Right.
Interesting. I thought.
Yeah.
The kind of-
African American.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so I think also for our listeners, there were a lot of characters in this book that were real people.
Yes.
And so some of them were fictitious and some were historically, fictitious.
Did you
Yeah.
just feel like there was a lot of name dropping in this book?
Well, there was a lot of, she put a lot of people who went on to do, somewhat prominent things
Like the
Right.
subway guy.
on that train, right?
Yeah.
The guy who engineered the Paris subways, the automobile guy,
Right.
the bullet manufacturer, the
Yeah.
Well, and even the woman who cleaned Gauguin's. I mean, it could have been
Right.
any painter, But I
who
mean, I felt
sold
like
all of Gauguin's stuff.
I did like the name of the subway guy, which was Fulgence Bienvenue.
Yeah.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's a name.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought Hakeem, the coffee guy, was interesting.
Yeah, that guy was interesting.
Yeah, he walked around with a tank of coffee, from what I could gather, on his back, and then you would pay your amount of money that you paid for coffee, a little extra if you wanted milk in it, and then there was a chain to the coffee cup. Those details were delightful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I
Yeah.
like
Yeah. I like
weird
that too.
details.
I thought one was, I kind of enjoyed the two young men who were students. And this is probably not funny, but I found it funny when he's recounting his parents' reaction when he tried to kill himself at the age of 13. Mom, it actually reminded me of you.
You did not try to kill
I
yourself.
didn't. But it says, my father found me dangling by a necktie from the window hasp, and all he said was, do stop fooling around. My mother told me I could always kill myself later, which I found more
I
helpful.
actually did say that
Yes,
to someone
you
one
have
time.
said
I
that
know.
before.
It's true.
And I actually said it to my kid. So I found that funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some great, another moment. I mean, there were, what I got the second time were just moments that I thought were interesting. When the birth was going on and the soldier just got up and panicked and tried to get off the train. And obviously that was your World War II, or
World War I.
World War
No,
I.
because it's pre that. It's before that.
It's before that, but it was
might have been like
war.
the Crimean.
Yeah, whatever. He was having some sort of war flashback, I thought. And
Oh, I
that
didn't
was-
get that sense. I just thought he was like, ew.
Well, I thought maybe it was.
Maybe it was. You could be. That could very well be true.
I mean,
a lot of blood
Yeah. And suffering.
and suffering.
Yeah,
that's true.
I thought that was interesting. There were a lot of small things that I thought were interesting. The woman with the hat and the monkey.
Yeah. I was a little bit intrigued by the mother-daughter character, where the daughter was so obviously ill.
Yeah.
I guess I related a lot to that because their names were Louise and Jeanne. Just because there was one. It's just this mother knew in her bones that her daughter was sick, and she just could not hear it from another person. She just wasn't ready to know it yet. And man, have I been there? Like that was
Yeah.
interesting to me.
It was.
Well, and I thought if there was anything that affected me just kind of emotionally in the book, it was the idea that it was almost Munchausen by proxy thing, with her saying how much she loved having her daughter,
Caring for
like
her.
17-year-old daughter snuggling into
Yeah.
her, and it was kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like, wow, that is really touching and almost
Kinda
on the edge
creepy.
of creepy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, my kid's not a hugger. So she was never a hugger, and I am a hugger. And so I actually, I think I would have really enjoyed that, even
Yeah.
at 17.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see that either way.
Yeah, I can too.
Yeah.
I mean, it stood out to me as just one of those little details, as
She
you
was
mentioned, Barb.
enjoying her incapacitation a little.
Yeah, that's a little
too much.
that is a
She
little
was.
bit.
That, it seemed.
That's
yeah.
a good point. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. She seemed to gather a bunch of interesting women characters.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought there was a lot about women generally in that time, class, childbirth, the kinds of jobs, the relationship between the woman who was with her business associate, her boss.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
And
Yeah.
she was ambitious, and they had the camera And she wanted to play with it, and she wanted to make a film, and he
Yes.
was like, he just wasn't interested, but she had to play that game.
Well, and she mentioned, have you ever seen that film with the babies and the Cabbage Patch? This old, like, early film?
I think I
No.
have.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen that, but I've seen one of those early Lumiere brothers films was like the train coming into the station.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that
Yeah,
was the film
yeah.
that I thought about.
Yeah.
When
It
she
did.
was
It
talking
did feel
about
like
that.
with the female characters that, there was, collectively on the edge of change of some sort, right? Like, things were happening. Technology was advancing. Was
Yeah.
the typewriter, the camera, the steam
Yeah.
engine, and so
Cars.
It felt like there was some, it's appropriate because it's on a train, but some movement and
Yeah,
some
yeah.
change happening. I thought she did that fairly well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And there's a lot of things happening in the world, and they kind of gathered
Yeah.
in the story.
So, we're citing, kind of a lot of stuff we liked about the novel.
But we didn't like the novel.
Yeah, what was it? What is it that we all kind of went, nah?
I think for me, it was the fragmentation of it. I just really wanted it to pick somebody. And I guess I just like stories that have a little bit more depth in specific characters because when I read, I want to root for a character. And I just felt like I just didn't get enough of anybody that I really felt strongly to care what was going to happen to them.
Okay, so let's play this game.
Okay.
Who would you throw off the train?
Well, all those rich people. I mean, that's
they really
obvious.
weren't that interesting.
What, I mean,
You just
if you
needed
want to focus
one.
on other
You know,
characters.
how many rich people do you need on a
like,
train?
seriously,
Who do you
you
want to
just
throw
needed
off?
one. I think you could have easily gotten rid of at least one of the politicians on the train because she just needed one, right? Like the whole point
She
was
really
to
did
blow
just
up a
need
train
one.
with just one because
Yeah.
that would get as much attention as three.
That's true.
That's a case of
Yeah.
the historical fact overwhelming the author's good sense.
Well,
because there really were three of them on the train.
Well, that's right. And that is really interesting, isn't it? Because I've written historical fiction and I love writing historical fiction and reading it. And the biggest thing, and teaching it is you have to say to people, you cannot use everything because you love it. You have to really discipline yourself.
Yeah, I think that I felt that way about the details about the train.
Absolutely. I don't
Yeah.
care about that train.
I mean, they were
Some of
cool.
it, yeah,
if I were
but-
into trains, I'd be like, "This is the best book ever." But I felt like she
Right.
just loved those details,
loved
and I
it too much.
get it. I mean, I've had
me
to
too.
hack out whole sections of things that I'm like, but you have to do it,
Kill the babies.
kinda.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes the language that she used was slightly patronizing towards the reader. Like she was trying to, make sure that we got every little single detail. Like there's this one here where, Mato realizes that Blonska has discovered that she has a bomb and she's thinking about, are the police going to come? And then like open paren, Mato hates all police. It's like,
Duh.
and like there's a way for us to know that
We know
without
that.
her like,
Right.
hitting us over the head.
Got-
Show don't
got
tell.
it.
So from a writing perspective, I just like that just really turned me off, and it just felt I don't know if it was like flimsy and sloppy and light, and it was just all of these things that as a reader,
it's bad
if I'm going to
writing
invest
right
in it
there.
and sort of create this like contractual relationship with the reader, I feel like I was not given what I agreed to in the contract.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Well, and
Yeah.
and isn't that's similarly, I think, a problem with the depth. I mean, it does feel very kind of broad brush over the whole thing. I mean, she's painted with a pretty wide brush.
It feels like it was an exercise for her. I guess I hadn't really thought of it until just now. But it feels like she thought, wow, this is a really interesting period of time. And she just, had this huge list of all the things that we're really interested in. It was kind of like, how can I put them all in there?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can
And it
see
is a super. I mean, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But that I just felt like, and so many times I thought, so what? And the name dropping thing.
Yeah.
Just-
I think in doing so, it's not that she was unsuccessful in putting all of those things in there. I just think conceptually, as a book, it's really hard to do, and it just didn't work here.
Yeah.
I think if you were going to do it, it had to be a lot longer book.
Yeah.
I was just going to
totally.
say,
Well, I think
could it,
you're right.
could, it
You
be,
know.
Totally.
could it be a longer book?
Yeah, I think it could be a.
I'm really glad it wasn't.
Yes, if it did what I want it to do, which is to flesh out characters and really show that moment. It's sort of like the movie. Is it Crash? Where you
Yeah,
have like all
right.
those
Yeah.
threads and they come together in these different ways. I do love stories
Yeah,
like
me
that.
too.
I really do, because I love the notion of everyone being connected and a person over here having an impact on a person over here. I love that idea, and I do think you could make it work if you were willing to
She would
maybe
have
cut
to-
down a little bit on the number of characters.
Oh, a lot.
But like you could flesh it out. I think so.
I think you could. Yeah, I think you'd have to choose.
I think it goes back to what you were saying, where she just was like she just wanted to get it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, but I think it could have been a good longer book.
Well, it seems to be more interested in the period in history than in the characters.
And I think
Yes.
it was interested in some themes and ideas too. Like I think you had
Yeah.
ideas. Like for me, I was kind of fascinated by the presence of time. It was
Speed.
speed and time.
Yeah.
Well, and also because like I like speed and I like time, but like I found it interesting just to think about how omnipresent for the people who worked on the train, how much you had to think about time and like the details about the clocks being 5 minutes off outside versus inside, and also the detail about. And I knew this before, but I just think it's so fascinating, the idea that every locality kept its own time, and that
Yeah.
you didn't need to have a standardized time until you had the railroad, and also you didn't even really need a time until the Industrial Revolution,
Right.
Because you didn't have to really be anywhere at a precise time, and that idea is just fascinating.
that
because we are
changed the world.
so just so driven by time in our culture. It's so looming, constant, just like guillotine over your head all the time. And the idea that there would have ever been a time that wasn't the case, I found really interesting.
Yeah, I also thought the idea of fairness came up
Yeah.
over and over again, and I think that's an interesting theme.
Yeah.
But fairness of obviously class
It's
fairness.
class.
There's a lot of class
Yeah.
warfare going on here.
But there was like the moral dilemmas too that you mentioned
Yes.
in your email for this talk. There were some very interesting, I thought, moral dilemmas, and she definitely wanted to explore those, and I wanted to as well. I thought, you've got the morality of revolutions, like what we were talking about earlier, revolution versus charity, the macro versus the micro, and you can make a case both ways, and she does. And I liked that. I thought those were interesting topics.
Well, I thought the race stuff was interesting too. The painter, when he got so freaked out when he was in a different carriage, and he got really agitated when the conductor came through because he was a black person, and in America that would have been a problem. It wasn't there, but he had that default reaction, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah. I also thought there were a couple of times, sort of to the time speed thing, where there was the way she described things were interesting, because it was like you were seeing the world in boom, 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 because it was
Yeah.
going by so fast. Whatever was happening in the window, and then it was gone.
It's almost like a film strip.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
funny. That film was also a piece of that story too. I thought that was, and just like technology in general. I mean, it is such a time of change. But what I found interesting is I felt like there was the same malaise expressed about that time as we're expressing now, and life was a lot slower then, and now
no
it's
kidding.
1,000 times faster. And I mean, I don't think we are equipped, and I don't think we were equipped even then for those changes and for the speed of time and life. That is different, I think, than any other time before.
It's not getting slower.
No, it is not.
No.
No, it's not. It said, one of the quotes I liked was, "In recent years, the educated of Europe have started describing everything as fin de siècle. It's meant to capture a certain exhausted melancholy." And that was in the discussion of the cabaret of nothingness, which was which I thought was a great name
Yeah.
for a show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ouch.
What did we think about the train as a character in the book?
Hated it. Me, I just hated it. I don't care. I thought the characters, the two guys were interesting.
Yeah, but the train was semi-conscious, I think.
I know. I don't know.
That could have gone very easily. I could have
Yeah.
never read that, and it would have made no impact on my understanding of the book or the
I mean,
story.
some history of the train or the nature of the train or whatever.
But like as a
those
character,
long
but
no.
like where, yeah, but no, like as like the words like the train as a she and what the train knows and what the train thinks, and I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing, I'm sort of agnostic about it, but once she just started describing the train as a character, I knew something was going to happen with the train, right? There was some foreshadowing going on there. There would be no reason, I feel like maybe the most character development that happened was with the train, right? Because I was like, ooh, something's going to happen with the train. And, I kept thinking
a
something
thought.
was going to happen with the, 36 other characters, but nothing really did. Anyway.
Yeah. What did we think of the sex scene?
it seemed gratuitous to me.
I agree.
Me too. I mean,
Especially
please.
since
Especially
that was
since
a real character.
No,
A real person.
You don't do
Right?
that.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful.
And she made that up.
Yeah,
That's not
that
okay.
really made me
Yeah, it served
sad.
no narrative purpose or, it's just.
Another one of those things, maybe, like, sometimes rich people got off the train and had sex in the urinal.
And that
Yeah.
goes back to the same.
Closed paren.
right.
Right.
I feel like that just goes back to the same issue we keep flagging, which is if I had known more about that character and what would compel him to take such
Well,
a
that's-
risk,
that's interesting.
What would compel him to behave in such a way when he would have so much to lose, then I would be very interested in understanding that scene. But it just felt gratuitous because it happened and then it was over and then everybody just moved on with their lives.
Yeah.
That bothered me. Yeah, but the fact that it was a real person, yeah, that felt like a violation.
So, were there any? I mean, obviously, the book touched on a lot of different things in the time period. There was, politics and art and commerce and social issues and transportation and all of these things. Did it make you curious about any of those things or about the time period in general?
I've always really thought French history in particular was very interesting. And, as I said earlier, my husband's French and I'm trying to be French. And so I do think it's such an interesting culture. And I think the Belle Époque really serves as, I think it's always been an interesting culture, but that's kind of where you get into the real exercise of the liberté, égalité, fraternité. You can really see those ideas in action during the Belle Époque. And those ideas now are still very prevalent in all aspects of French society. It's it's a big part of the politics. It's, there's a very strong sense of the interconnection of French people in society. And I think the Belle Époque is when you start to really get that notion, when they start to really think that way. And I found, so for that reason, and because I do find modern French society to be quite interesting, I could see the seeds of it. I mean, I know that it would have been before that too, but the seeds of modern French culture really do, in my mind, exist in that period.
Yeah, Laurel, any interest in any of that stuff?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I am drawn towards French history and culture. I have dabbled in photography throughout my life, and so I really sort of enjoyed, hearing and reading about sort of that as a sort of new technology in this book, and also. Sort of like the design of the metro and, sort of the design of that time is also really interesting. And, she references it a few times in the book.
Yeah. Barb, any interest?
Not so much. I mean,
Especially in any of that stuff?
It's not your period.
It's not my period, and it's not really my country. I am fascinated by Italian history.
Yeah.
And back farther, early Renaissance is my time, and I love medieval stuff too. Medieval French history is interesting
fascinating.
to me.
Yes.
But the 1800s generally not so much for me. Just kind of anywhere. I don't know why. I guess
Maybe it's too close.
I don't know. It's just
Maybe it's like a pre-industrial revolution thing for you, where maybe that's the crossover.
Yeah, I guess that stuff doesn't interest me that much. I want to go back and see what people were doing before all that. The painters and the scientists, and so it's not so much a period I'm interested in.
Was there anything surprising to any of you about the period, about any of those historical things, any of these people she put on the train?
Like I said, I loved a lot of small details. I mean, just details of day-to-day life. I loved the coffee guy, and I thought it was really interesting about how they drilled the holes in the floor of the third class to make them more uncomfortable. Jeez.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I found very fascinating.
That was capitalism at its best.
No
back
kidding.
then.
I thought it was interesting to read about the conductor because one thing I think is actually quite funny about French society is that the French people who work for the railroad have gone on strike every year since 1947.
Is that right?
They strike all the time.
I've been in Paris one time, and they were on strike.
Yeah, and what's funny about it is they have one of the most generous retirement packages of any industry in the entire country. And it's like if you can retire at like 54 with a full pension or something like that. But the reason it was like that was because it was such a hazardous job.
Yeah.
And so, but the fact that, I mean, it's just such a big part of French culture. They are always on strike. I mean, I've been there, 15 times in the last 18 years at least, and I mean, they are always on strike.
That's funny.
It's really funny.
I've been to Paris one time, and there was a transit strike
Yeah,
on the day we were supposed to go to the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
There you go.
That's the day it started.
Was it early, was it early 2020 or late 2019?
No, it was
Okay, earlier
considerably
than that.
before that.
It's all the time. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
It just cracks me up though, because they really have. Like whenever I think about what employment circumstances people in this country have, and then they're always on strike, I'm like, oh my god, it's so funny.
I thought the two guys, I don't know what their jobs are, but they worked in tandem, and they were
It was like the coal stoker and and basically the conductor.
Yeah, and they had a whole other life on the days that they did not go home.
Yes.
And that could have been developed too. That's another
absolutely.
pair of characters.
Yeah, that's why I do think if you made it longer, it could have been much more interesting.
So, would you rather have a longer book with more character development, or a book this length with just fewer characters and
I think you could make either of those work.
Yeah, I agree with
Mom,
that.
you were going to say something. I think.
No, I would go for the more developed, but there's no way for me that this would be an interesting story without character development.
Yeah, agree.
And there's just none.
It's kind of a nothing story.
It isn't. There is no story really. I mean, it's just a bunch of people. And there are interesting stories among the people.
Could it have been a collection of short stories with the
that's
conceit of a
interesting-
train as the overarching frame of those stories? Or
She-
like vignettes or something? I don't know. I thought about that when I was
something.
reading it. Would it have been easier to read one at a time? Instead of bouncing from person to person and story to story, would it have been easier to do one at a time?
But then there's, she's got the overarching thing, which is the bomb
time,
and the
yeah.
disaster,
Yeah, true.
and whatever.
Yeah, you can't
So
really
I don't,
do that.
I don't. You might. Somebody might. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wondered if a different structure could have served it better. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
Yeah.
don't know. What do we think about the ending? Could it have ended any differently than it did? Is there any other way to end the book?
I felt so sorry for the lady who was like the one person who
know,
got
like-
killed in this accident.
I
But
know.
by the way, she got like a paragraph.
Wrong place,
Yeah.
wrong time.
Yeah.
What a bummer, I
Yeah.
just thought.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting to see that Motto character change from, wanting to bomb to not wanting to bomb. At least there was a bit of an arc there. But yeah, I just really mostly felt sorry for that woman that got mowed down by the train. I was like,
I
this
know.
poor woman who got no attention for the entire book. We
And
didn't
then
know anything about
she's
her.
only there to die.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
that sucks, man. What a bummer.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't know how it could have ended any other way. I mean, I guess it's so weird because I guess I thought the bomb was going to go off, but I couldn't really care about it because I couldn't. It wasn't. I'm not saying that the way I feel it. It just. I didn't feel the tension of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess I was surprised because I didn't know about the accident. So I was surprised that it ended the way that it did. But it wasn't enough to make the other parts of it satisfying.
Yeah.
One thing I sort of wish would have happened is, with the train plowing through the edge of the station and dangling, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall there being much description of what that looked like of it hanging. I mean, it's a pretty dramatic photograph, and I think that's another missed opportunity in my head. Like that could have been a really beautiful description of what that, sort of mangled, steel or iron or whatever,
and what it would feel like to look at it.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have liked there to even be a little more character development. If the train is going to be a character, what is she experiencing?
We should grieve that injury.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a very good point.
A really good point.
Yeah, you should feel sorry for her.
Yeah, because it's a dramatic. I mean, it's a beautiful photo.
It is.
It's
amazing
very
photo.
dramatic. But
Yeah.
I think there could have been some more attention paid.
And also the photographer. I mean, that was just a once in a lifetime shot.
Yeah.
And there, he just was there to take the shot. And
what was his day like before that? I mean,
it just. It's kind of just an ill-conceived novel, in my mind.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. I will say this. We have sat here, I can't remember the last time 4 of us sat here and talked about a book and said so many nice things about it.
And then
we're all going to go, probably not.
Yeah. I wanted so much more for it, and I wanted so much more for all the characters involved, and I just feel like they deserve better.
Yeah. So would we recommend it? Are we all saying that we wouldn't, or maybe we would, or
only to someone who really liked trains?
I would not recommend.
My brother-in-law really likes trains. He has a beautiful
there you go.
model train set
This
up.
might be your guy.
He might like it.
I would not. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Laurel?
No. I mean, I would say, though, like if there's like a young reader who's interested in this era,
Yeah.
Maybe for a younger reader, but
but that sex scene, I don't know.
Oh well, take out a few things, but you know what I mean. Like it just feels more like somebody who's just starting out reading.
It's almost
like longer novels,
like an intro to the Belle Époque, and you read it, and then you research all those people in there, and all those movements in there, and all those technologies. Then you would have a very good sense of that.
Yeah,
period.
but even still, I don't know that I would recommend it. It just had a little bit more of a young reader.
Yeah, I think young readers would find it boring. I mean, I do. I really do.
Yeah.
Because nothing happens.
Yeah, that's
If you have a serious interest in that period of time, it would be worth reading, because I think it captures a lot of that period of time.
But you wouldn't be reading it for the story. You would be reading it for that atmosphere.
For the atmosphere, and to know what it felt like. So,
I would agree with that.
In that way, you might like it.
Is there any historical photo you would turn into a book?
I was looking at historical photos today, and they're all just so depressing. It's like the Hindenburg and, napalm in Vietnam, and you're just like, oh God, I don't want to write. The only thing I could think of that I could even consider is that famous Times Square VJ Day photo. But then there's the issue of consent that it ended up coming to light about that photo, where that woman was like, I did not agree to that, and so even that one got ruined.
But you know what? That's
an
the
interesting
story.
Yeah,
That's the story. I mean, I think with a photograph like that, you'd want the sideways story.
Yeah, I suppose
because
that's
if you tried, I was thinking of like the little girl, the Vietnamese girl,
that's
running.
yes.
And it's an amazing photograph. But
I
to
just
tell
read a
that
piece
story,
about that photo.
Yeah.
About they don't really know who took it.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
It's
I read
always
that
been
too.
attributed to this AP photographer or something. But like there were a bunch of people around, and in fact, there may be like some photographic evidence that he didn't take it because he was you can see him in a photo.
Oh, wow.
Like the angle he's shooting from.
It couldn't be
So I don't know. I'm.
Well, there's a
I
story.
didn't. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I think I could relate to a photograph in terms of a subject.
Yeah, what's around it?
What's around
what don't
it.
you see?
Yeah, what are
Yeah.
you not seeing?
I was also kind of fascinated by that shot of the workmen in the 30s on the skyscraper beam.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a picture that I've always
Yeah.
been like, whoa, every time I see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
she's a known real person, but I've always loved the photograph of Marian Anderson, the black opera singer, standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial singing America in 1939. You know, she was, the DAR denied her the right to sing in Constitution Hall, so Eleanor Roosevelt arranged for this concert in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and I just love that photo, and I it's just an interesting period of time in the United States, and it's a beautiful photograph.
And who's in that audience? I mean,
right, exactly,
for me. That would be
exactly,
really interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, probably, Willie Mays sliding into home or something.
Well, like the Ali photo, where he's over. Is it Sonny Liston? One of those kind of.
What a great photo!
That's a great photo.
Yeah. Well, none of us really would recommend this book. Is there anything we would recommend? It's kind of the end of the year. If you have, even what was your favorite book of the year, you can throw that out, or if you have a recommendation, or both. Go for it.
I have 3 that I
All right.
recently read that I absolutely loved.
Let's hear it.
One is The Phoebe Variations by Jane Hamilton. It's just a wonderful coming-of-age story. And The Irish Goodbye, which is Heather Amy O'Neill, which is an American but Irish family kind of finally dealing with the tragedy when it's one of those things that all happens over Thanksgiving. It's quite a wonderful story. And then Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. I love that too. So those are my 3. And Kate Shoup's Overtaken.
Okay.
Thanks,
Excellent.
Mom.
Okay.
Here's your $5. For me, right now I'm reading Axeman's Carnival. I really love it a lot. I love it. And it reminds me a little bit of that, what's the one with the pigeon? I have it written down. Cherami and Major Whittle.
Oh,
it
I love
reminds
that
me of
one
that.
too.
It's another bird.
Yeah.
It's like bird narrator would be the
Kathleen
Venn
Rooney.
diagram there. But it's really interesting. And then I recently read a book called Heart the Lover by Lily King that I really liked. It was sort of
That's
like
on my
a
list.
thwarted young love.
Yeah,
sort of.
I saw her new book.
I liked it.
It was even, I think it was on the New York Times
It was.
100 Notable Books.
I liked it. I felt that book. I mean, I could
That's
relate
what I always
really
want.
powerfully to that book.
I think she's a good writer.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
and
I
then,
did too.
Earlier this year in my book club, we did The Dog Stars by Peter Heller, and it's kind of reminded me of
I remember that
Station.
book.
Is it Station
Yeah,
13?
Station 11.
I get them mixed
really?
up.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that. It's sort of a
Yeah,
post-apocalyptic.
I don't really remember
I
it, but
liked
I
it
really
a lot. I
remember liking
really
it.
liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To try that one.
Yeah. But that's it for me.
Yeah,
good books.
excellent.
I know.
Thanks, Kate. Hey, by the way, how do we get your book?
It's probably the best way is to go to ElizabethOliverAuthor.com, but the S in Elizabeth is it's an S, not a Z. So Elizabeth Oliver.
Actually, if you just go to
author.com.
Amazon, it comes up.
I know, but I'll
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
don't advise that right now.
Okay.
I'm
Sorry.
sorting something out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay, but that's the best way right now is to do it. But
Awesome.
thank you for asking. I'm really happy with it.
Cool. Laurel, got something?
Yeah, I was really happy. I read a lot of books that I really enjoyed this year. One was Orbital by Samantha
I liked
Harvey
that too. That was
Ken
good.
recommended, and I loved it. It was just like a beautiful meditation on Earth, and it was just really lovely. I finally got around to reading Demon Copperhead, which I loved.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I read the last sentence and I burst into tears. It was just
That's a good book.
Yeah, and then I just recently finished Patti Smith's Bread of Angels. I love her writing. It's sort of like
too.
this next installment of these memoirs that she's writing, but I love her writing.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Laurel.
Yeah.
And you?
Well, my favorite novel this year actually came out last year. It was Elizabeth Strout's Tell Me Everything, which I know, Barb,
I'm not a
probably...
fan, but
you're
okay.
not a fan. I loved it, and
That's
it
interesting.
made me weepy.
Okay.
And I'm sure I've endorsed it on the show before. I just found it really moving. And,
It's
and I was
interesting.
really
It's her very
lukewarm about
favorite.
her previous couple books.
Is
That's
that
cool.
Olive Kittredge? Is that the
Yes.
author?
Same
Yeah, I
person.
don't love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
Okay.
I really loved it. But I always keep a list of the books I read, and my highest book that actually came out this year was not a novel. It was Omar El Akkad's One Day Everyone Will Always Have Been Against This.
Yeah.
That is
I
the
haven't read that, but it's a
greatest
great
just-
title.
It is
Yeah.
a great title. I saw that
It
the other
is.
day.
That's on my
Yeah.
list of
Yeah.
stuff I want to read.
Just won the National Book Award, and it is I think I've also recommended that in the past, but it's amazing. But my favorite novel this year is actually by a local guy, Caleb Caudle, has a novel called Hardly Working.
Oh, he's an interesting guy.
He's a very interesting guy, and if you have ever met him, the book is like him. It's spiky, and it's sometimes angry, and it's funny, about a
Cool.
guy
I
who's
liked
kind
his
of living a
first one.
down-and-out life in Indianapolis, and I really just loved it. It reminded me, I don't know if any of you have ever read Fernando Pessoa, The Book of Disquiet. It's kind of an amazing book by this Portuguese writer. And that is really high praise from me that that's what this reminds me of. But it's Hardly Working by Caleb Caudle.
I'm going to get that.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
Get his Substack.
Yeah, his Substack. Yeah, it's very much like
Grim.
his Substack.
But good.
Yes, exactly. And on that cheery note,
Happy holidays.
that is it for us. Remember, you can stream Radio Free Book Club practically anywhere you get your podcast. We'd love for you to subscribe to the Radio Free Book Club Substack. It's always free as well. So for Barb Shoup, Kate Shoup, Laurel Judkins, and all the members of Radio Free Book Club, I'm Ken Honeywell. Thanks for listening, and join us next month when we're taking on the winner of this year's Booker Prize, David Zaloy. David Saloy's Flesh. We hope you'll join us. Till then, read a book.